Well, hello everyone, and welcome to an ever so slightly different version of spoiler warning, but still very much a version of spoiler warning. We will be talking about the most recent Vince McMahon news, as I'm sure you would expect, and the usual drips and drabs of news and storylines. But, as much as anything, we will also be taking a moment to just throw me a little bit of a party. Now, admittedly, I do feel self-indulgent saying it, but it's my birthday. So, I think every now and then a little pat on the back for getting through another year is perfectly okay. So welcome everyone. Thank you so much everyone who has joined us. There will be news for those who are just interested in the news, but I do want to read out some birthday celebrations. I do want to check in with the chat, and I do want to talk about what's going on with Vince McMahon, because my word, there is a lot going on with Vince McMahon. I always find it funny how we have so many people who claim to be the creme de la creme, the absolute top of wrestling journalism, and then the Wall Street Journal comes in and basically says, yeah, just move out of the way, we're going to actually report facts now. We're going to talk news. We're going to talk about things that actually matter. You know? I always find that really very funny. I'm going to catch up with the chat, I'm going to see what people are saying, and I'm going to say thanks to a lot of people, I suspect. Simon says, hey Tom, happy birthday. Really hope you had an amazing day celebrating. Any new Sasha Banks update? No new Sasha Banks update at this point in time. PW Insider, I believe, had the most recent update that they have apparently been removed from the internal roster. But I've been given as much information as I can on Sasha Banks and Naomi, and I think step by step and beat by beat, it's been proven correct. Thank you very much for the birthday wishes. Steve says, happy birthday, bro. Hope you had an awesome day. Hope you've had some cake to celebrate. No cake for me, sadly, this evening, but I'll celebrate you some cookie dough ice cream instead. I appreciate you celebrating me. Thank you very much, Steve. That is a lovely thing to say. I did have some cake. I had some lemon meringue pie, which is always what I have every year on my birthday. Pardon me. I can't even say it's my favourite cake. It's just what I have every year on my birthday. So, you know, I'll take it. I'll absolutely take it. Sai says, happy St. Colohue Day. Thank you kindly. Thank you everybody for the birthday wishes. Steve says, my question for you today, what is your favourite celebration in wrestling history? Can be a birthday or anything else. Alexa Bliss's celebration of becoming Raw Women's Champion, where she stood on a podium and declared herself the goddess. I enjoyed that. I was a fan of Alexa Bliss at the time. I'm still a fan of Alexa Bliss now. And it just felt very in character. Also, modern WWE, very different. At the same time, though, I do want to have a shout-out for Bray Wyatt. When the era of Wyatt began and he was able to hold the championship high and just celebrate the fact that the era of Wyatt had arrived and he had the whole damn world in his hands. Seems like we'd never fall, but we are where we are. Please do remember to hit like on the video. It'd be really very much appreciated. We have 37 viewers and 11 likes so far. It's a damn good start. Ryu says, what the? I'd imagine this is as regards the overlay. This is my birthday overlay made by Sai, featuring a lot of different things. The Blackpool skyline, Ellie from The Last of Us. I think this is representing me because, let's be honest, you can see it. Birthday cake. There is a skull and crossbones, which is in case of piracy, which we all have to be aware of. There is a unicorn because of my unicorn onesie, which isn't technically mine, but it's ended up in my house, so I show it off a lot. There is Sasha Banks because wherever I go, I'll never get away from Sasha Banks. That's one of the first major pieces of news I broke. The Liverbird, because I support Liverpool. Gaming icon, Triple H, and of course, Cherry Coke, because that's what I like to drink. It's insane and I love it. Matthew Ham says, hey Tom, happy birthday. Thank you, Matthew. Much appreciated. Vitaly says, happy belated birthday to you, Tom. Don't care about haters and be the best version of yourself. I am aware, not too aware, because let's be honest, I haven't bothered to go out there and read any of it. I'm aware that there has been some drama, some reactions to people who've been trying to celebrate me already, and were attacked for it by a number of different people, certainly an instigator-in-chief. Now, I haven't looked into this. All I did all day yesterday was retweet birthday stuff. I retweeted birthday wishes and I was very, very happy for it. And that was basically my day yesterday. Now, I did plenty else. I had a great birthday, I've got to say. But while all this was happening, we, like collectively, we were being attacked for trying to get credit for a story that we accurately reported. In fact, 2 stories. So I appreciate everyone going to bat for me. I can only apologise for the amount of crap you've received for it. Certainly not something I've instigated. What I will say is that the people who would know best about my record are the people who watch this show week in, week out, which is you guys. If I came in here and I had wrong report after wrong report after wrong report, guess who would know? You guys. And guess who are the ones going out there and saying you should give this guy credit? You guys. To be attacked by people who never drop in, never check any of my work, and clearly haven't done their research, I feel that says more about them than it does about us. Thank you as always to everyone for your support. It does mean the world to me that we've been able to build so far and so fast, despite the efforts of others to keep us in permanent standstill. Bailey says, happy birthday, Tom. Thank you, Bailey. Spider-Boss says, hello, Tom. According to Peter Insider, WWE removed Sasha and Naomi from the Eternal roster. Is that true? That is true. From best I can tell, Peter Insider reported it, and from I've only got the one source on it, but it seems to be true internally. That said, I'm still yet to hear anything about an official release, but we'll see what comes out. Obviously, it's unlikely that I'll have the information first on that one, but I do share what I learn here pretty much as quickly as I can for a reason. Jay says, happy birthday, Tom. Thank you, Jay. Thank you very much, mate. Sean says, hello, Tom. Hello, Sean. And Spider-Boss says, any update about Bailey's return? No update at this point in time. The most recent update that I had was that she's been training, ready for a return. They're just waiting for the right storyline. As you guys know, that report also came out from a number of different outlets recently. Now, they could have just confirmed my report. Instead, they wanted to make sure I didn't get credit for accurately reporting it first. So I'm just going to take a little bit of credit, which is something I rarely do, for reporting it first. Sometimes I just like pissing people off. No update further than that. They are just waiting for the right story. I'm sure that story is coming soon. I don't expect it to be to still be waiting come SummerSlam, but we'll see how it goes. Kuro, how you doing, mate? Jaden says, hey Tom, happy late birthday. No worries, Jaden, and thank you very, very kindly. Thank you for joining us. Connor says, hello, Big Tom. Happy belated birthday, mate. Thank you kindly. Very much appreciate it. And Dara says, happy late birthday. Thank you, Dara. So many people being so kind at the moment. Thank you, everyone, for constantly being so nice, so supportive, and so reassuring. You've all been wonderful to me in bad times and in good. You guys know that I've been through some bad times here. If you remember the post-its, I don't know how many of you will have been there at this point, but those who do remember the post-its will know I've had a rough time here. Had a rough time. Sai with the super chat, thank you kindly, says, catch this super chat just for that jacket alone. Appreciate you, Tom. This is a birthday present. Let's show it off. So you guys know I have ridiculous shirts. This is another one that is truly ridiculous. There's a dragon on it. There is a dragon on it. How ridiculous is this? I love a dumb shirt, and it's just so magnificently dumb. I'm so happy with it. Just so happy with it. Edward Brooks says, happy birthday, Tom. Excited for today. Happy it is Friday too. Thank you kindly, and me too. Camonte Jackson says, happy birthday. Thank you very much. And Moxie says, acknowledge the birthday man, my tribal chief. I think that's the first time you've acknowledged me without asking to be acknowledged first. Hypnosis Bro says, happy birthday to spoiler warning. Let's have some fun. Would you rather have Ronda be a forever babyface or Roman remain a part-timer? I think Ronda's just such a good heel. Just a much better heel. So I'd rather Roman be part-time. I think Roman's entering his Brock phase, and I'm okay with that. Like, people were cheering him a lot when he left. This is just a reminder that you're not supposed to do that. Moxie says, Tom, I think tonight we're going to get Ronda versus Natalya. Winner faces Liv at SummerSlam. Perfectly plausible and a good way to get there. They tend to take it slow, but good way to get there. I did see that, Spider-Boss, or at least I was told about it. So sorry for the drama that people are put under for the effort to try and make someone report factually, but we are where we are. Spider-Boss says, do WWE have any plans for Gunther's IC title reign? No major plans. No major plans at the moment, I'll say that. But they are planning to make sure he's on the SummerSlam card. Same with Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley likely to get a rematch. Both are going to be on the SummerSlam card. I don't know in what capacity. Jaden says, can you explain the news on Vince, a full breakdown? I can't right now. Because there's still a lot of chat to catch up on. So I'll catch up with the chat and then we'll break that down. Kura says, Thomas, your birthday, why didn't you take a day off? Yesterday was my birthday. I did take a day off. Today is the celebration because I took that day off. But good question. Sean says, Sheamus versus Drew is announced with the winner facing Roman at Clash at the Castle. Kind of given away that Drew McIntyre has already, declared himself for Clash at the Castle. Kind of a giveaway there. Spider-Boss says, I hope you had an awesome, happy birthday. Thank you very much. I really did. So one of my favourite things that I got was this. Please note, this is not a birthday card, just a picture of a giraffe. How cute is that? How cute is that? Best birthday card I've ever had. Although my niece did get me a card for my 31st birthday, which was a Roman Reigns card that was for an 8-year-old, and she just scribbled out the 8 and wrote 31. I still have that, and I will never let it go. Never. Hector says, happy belated B-Day, Tom. Does this mean we get a This Is Your Life segment? I would need a co-host for that, I'll tell you that, but I wouldn't hate it. Could be very, very funny. Go through my background at, for example, Ultimate Guitar. If no one's aware of that, I have a background at Ultimate Guitar. UltimateGuitar.com, the website. Maybe worth checking out. But it was a while back that I was on there, I'll tell you that. Michael says, happy birthday, Tom. Thank you kindly, Michael. Appreciate that. Spider-Boss says, what do you think about Christian's promo on AW Dynamite? I think the heel turn has been a big plus for him. I know the promo's a little bit controversial. Haven't really keyed too much into that, I've got to be completely honest with you. But I'm really enjoying his overall work as a heel. I think it makes him a lot more impactful and a lot more important to the state of play. And I have no issue with it. Christoph, welcome mate, been a little while, hope you're doing well. Says, Tom, I really wish you all the best. I remember when I first contacted you because I enjoy yours and Nick's podcast so much. Your channel was very small back then. It was indeed. It is growing at a very healthy rate and I could not be happier with that. Could not be happier. Thank you very much for the birthday wishes. Spider-Boss says, I would love to see Alexa versus Bianca instead of Bianca versus Carmella again. We'll see how it plays out. It's not impossible. Alexa now has nothing to do with her tag team partner on the other show. You may see that, I think it was yesterday, Peter Insider reported that Liv Morgan had moved to SmackDown. It's amazing the news we get, isn't it? Amazing the news we get. Johnny Crow has asked about the heel turn I teased on Twitter the other day. We will be getting to that as soon as we've caught up with the chat, and then we'll get into talking Vince McMahon, I'll tell you that. So let's, I'll continue to run through. Andrew Quinn says, hello Tom, so happy I forgot your birthday. So sorry I forgot your birthday. Happy birthday, Tom. No need to be sorry, I very much appreciate it. What's your thoughts on Taron Egerton playing the next Wolverine after holding talks with Kevin Feige? I like Taron Egerton. I think he did really well in Kingsman, and I'm not sure about Wolverine, but they do have to refresh the role. It does have to go younger, and it also does have to go shorter. Definitely have to go shorter. Justin says, why not save Drew versus Sheamus in a number one contenders match at SummerSlam instead of some random SmackDown 2 months out? I suspect there are other plans for Sheamus and Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam. I suspect it may be some realm of tag team match. Not sure what it will be, but they're looking like a great tag team at the moment. Kervin says, happy birthday, Tom. Thank you, Kervin. I appreciate that. Christoph says, you've come a long way already. This will keep going strong, so congratulations, and you deserve it. Cheers, my friend. Cheers to you too. I really do appreciate the affection, the support, just the friendship that I've had from so many people here. Like, every now and then, I do get a bit bogged down by the hate and the crap and, you know, the drama that comes with being a public figure in any walk of life. I do get a bit bogged down with it at times. But I'm in a much better place in my life right now than I was, say, 2 years ago. I'm certainly in a much better place than I was 1 year ago. That's when the post-its were up. 1 year ago, the post-its were up for my birthday. So I'm really, really happy with my life right now. try as some people might, and some people really have dedicated their lives to it, you're not bringing me down. David Leary says, any updates on how Fox and NBC Universal feel about the current Vince allegations? A little update will be coming on that shortly. Rob says, happy birthday also happens to be Ludwig Kaiser's 32nd birthday today. He's 2 years younger than me and a day. Thank you very much, Robs. Hypnosis Bro says, Tom, is Becky versus Asuka still happening at SummerSlam because they really focused on commentary that this was the last match for the time being? I feel like Becky has someone else at SummerSlam. Yeah, it certainly the match seemed to be moved forward and does not seem to be happening at SummerSlam anymore. I would suspect that Becky's going to try and get back involved with Bianca at this point, so Carmella might not be who we end up with. Spider-Boss says, does Charlotte return tonight or next week? Hard to say. My suspicion is still very much that Charlotte will wait until SummerSlam itself in order to make her reappearance. Certainly it's not impossible that she'll come back before that, depending on whether they feel they need a boost in ratings, or if, people are absent, or if they need to hide certain pieces of news in the typical WWE style of let's throw a dead cat at it. But I do think SummerSlam is more likely. Michael says you can't please everyone. You really can't, and I've long since given up trying to. There are plenty of people out there who don't like me. That's okay. There are plenty of people out there who don't like me and have never met me. That's okay. There are plenty of people out there who don't like me based on false information that they've been given from people who, given that false information in an effort to say, I'm the only person you can trust. All a bit Donald Trump. That's okay. I'm still happy. Keep coming for me. Put as much effort as you want into hating me. I'll put no effort at all into you. You don't matter. So yes, you're right, Michael, and thank you for saying it. Hector says, I don't really want to get too much into the Vince stuff because it's bad, but I feel even worse for Steph and all of Vince's nieces. Imagine being Steph and Triple H having to explain Grandpa's actions when the time comes, because this is past a hush-hush level. It really is, though, of course, while we don't know this, you are assuming that it wasn't actually public knowledge in the McMahon household already. Spider-Boss says, what is your favourite promo from Triple H? Weirdly, because I was a kid at the time and it just seemed the ridiculousness was turned up to 11, when he married Stephanie McMahon against her will. He just seemed like he was having the time of his life in that promo. Meanwhile, Steph's shouting, I hate you, and crying. Just great work from everyone involved. Ez says, chat, should I attempt to make Tom emotional on stream or let him do the show with his usual pizzazz? You're scaring me, mate. You're scaring me. That is all I'll say. You're scaring me. Noob says, hello and happy birthday, Tom. It seems like Boris has resigned. Boris resigned on my birthday. What a birthday present you can have. I was born on the 7th of July. There was a UK bombing on the 7th of July. It really made my birthday not much fun at times. But now I can connect it to the fact that Boris resigned, which is always good news. Michael says, I'm pretty much just here to chat these days. My heart is not in WWE anymore. I know, mate. I know. I appreciate you coming in to chat along. Maybe in future we'll be chatting about different things going on in wrestling and Sasha appearing elsewhere. But for now, I do still appreciate the patronage and the conversation, the friendship. But I know that WWE has let you down. Spider-Boss says, does WWE have out of the internal roster the people who they have conflict? Right? No, it's very much people who there aren't any creative plans for, or who aren't with the company. There are people not on the internal roster who are on creative hiatus, for example. Drew Gulak is not listed on the internal roster because they just don't have plans for him at the moment. Once they do have plans, they'll bring him back in. He'll be listed on the roster. The rosters aren't just, this is who works for us. The roster is, here's a list of faces, here's a list of heels, here's a list of people who don't have a feud right now. Okay, that person's available, let's pivot this person's up, and so on and so forth. Jaden says, is there a chance that Sasha and Naomi return before or in SummerSlam? Or is that not happening now that we know, that they've been removed from the internal list? There is a chance of anything happening at any time, but it's a very low chance. Joey says, happy birthday, thank you kindly. Any spoilers for SmackDown tonight besides Drew and Sheamus? Drew and Sheamus, I think, is a big giveaway on spoilers. I think Liv Morgan's welcome to SmackDown could be a lot of fun. I think people may really enjoy that. Corey says, hi guys, how you doing, Corey? I hope you're well. Tom Talks Rubbish, hello. Apologies, I took a little while to get to you there. says, happy birthday, Tom. Is it for you or spoiler warning? It is my personal birthday. 7th of July yesterday. Thank you very much for dropping in and giving that happy birthday. Spoiler warning actually started the 11th of January last year. So spoiler warning is coming up on 18 months. Spoiler warning, very much the name of the show. I do always laugh when people get that one wrong and think that I'm trying to say everything I say is a spoiler and I have all of it and everything. It's the name of the show. It's a catchy name and I like it. Spider-Boss says, I wonder when Charlotte returns to TV. Hopefully not too soon. And Lauren says, perfect birthday jacket. I think so. I love it. Megan, welcome, says, happy birthday, my friend. Hope this day has been one of happiness and all those good things. It was yesterday and I took the day off for it and it was a tremendous time. Just a tremendous time. It's I've had a lot of issues in the past with basically feeling guilty for existing. Some of it comes from abandonment issues and the like. I'm not going to go into family life and all that, but there's a lot to it. And I've realised a lot more about it in the last 6 months or so. And I've come to terms with it more. And the reason I've realised a lot about it is essentially because I no longer feel it. I feel really quite happy to be alive. I feel really quite wanted and quite valued. And here, these chats, they've played a really big part in it. People like yourself, Megan, have really, really meant a lot to me. And I very much appreciate that. I've had a great day. I'm in a great place. And I just want to share that with all of you. Have you noticed, bro, we will be talking about that tweet shortly. Joey says the IC title finally going to be defended on a pay-per-view. I know, right? I know. Hopefully no one gets injured. Spider-Boss says, Drew versus Sheamus tonight. Is it me or is it predictable that Drew will win? It's very predictable that Drew will win, but I suspect what they're going to do, much as they did in the last few weeks, is have some sort of draw and just sort of drag it out. Also, I wouldn't be angry at a triple threat. Roman, Drew, Sheamus. Would anyone actually be angry at this particular concept? Just to be clear. Moxley says, in my opinion, Drew versus Sheamus will end in a DQ. Then we get the match at SummerSlam where Drew beats Sheamus. Very possibly. That's very possibly. Spider-Boss says, does WWE still want to keep Theory far, far away from Roman? At the moment, I'm not aware of any plans for Theory to cash in anytime soon on Roman Reigns, or in fact on Roman Reigns at all, but we'll wait and see how that plays out. Jaden says, are you going to buy 2K22? Now that I'm watching GM mode played regularly, I'm tempted. And Jaden says, do you know anything about 2K23? Not at this point in time. I know it's coming, and I know that there's going to be a GM mode, because GM mode has been very well received. Matthew Ham says, any updates on SummerSlam? Not at this point in time. New updates on SummerSlam will be coming midweek next week, as I gather a bit more information for it. Moxie says, Drew wins the WWE title from Roman at Clash at the Castle. Then at Day 1 or Royal Rumble, Seth beats Drew for the title. WrestleMania is Cody versus Seth for the title. Cody versus Seth seems very, very likely. Very likely, and I'm waiting for that moment to come. Moxie says, happy birthday, Tom. Thank you, Moxie. Austin says, little late, but here, happy late birthday, Tom. Also, I don't know if it's a real website, but All Elite Wrestling News said that Paige Naomi Sasha is signing of AEW. No ways can be true. Well, certainly it could be true, but certainly that particular website seems a bit biased, if they are even real. Lauren Goodnight, hello there, says, I'm so proud of you and your hard work. You made it through another blazingly strange year, and that's amazing. Also, Cody Rhodes, still a little bitch. Colohue forever, or at least another 50 years or so. Thank you, Lauren. Someone who's been with me since very, very early days, and the continued support has meant the world to me. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for saying that. Razar says, do you know why they removed the Sasha Banks avatar off Peacock? When you search her name for content, it says no results today. Well, Peacock has been instructed by the WWE to remove references to Sasha Banks because they don't want to be clear, boost Sasha Banks' profile given the situation that we're in. I don't know any more than that, but that is what I know. Sean says, happy belated birthday. Thank you, Sean. Andrew Quinn says, I feel like Undertaker will appear either September or October time before Survivor Series not to wrestle. Maybe he'll make his first appearance after retiring 2 years ago. I agree that will happen, much like Kane has been involved in the past. Undertaker has a show to advertise. I'd imagine he's going to appear. Joey says, Dave Meltzer reported WWE will be holding a tryout for indie talent. Any big names going to be there? The biggest name that's going to be there is Bruce Pritchard. Vince McMahon is not planned to be there, though previously MVP has expressed an interest, for example, in going down to some of these. They did hold tryouts at last year's SummerSlam. It is the business model going forwards to have one big tryout featuring wrestling talent that they approach and request to attend around SummerSlam time. Spider-Boss says, if Becky ends up facing Bianca at SummerSlam, I hope Bianca retains. I suspect she will, though of course Becky's return to form may be coming sooner than we think. Noob says, what is next for Asuka after a feud with Becky Lynch? Don't know if she's going to be on the SummerSlam card. I don't know either. I really am not sure when it comes to SummerSlam what's going to happen with Asuka. I think she's returned very strongly. And while she's come off losing this particular feud, you can easily have her transition into a feud with, say, Rhea Ripley now. You could easily have her transition into a feud with Alexa Bliss now. There's options, there's opportunities, and certainly I wouldn't complain at the idea of Asuka versus Bayley now. Dimitar says, so, Tom, what's of all the confusing reports about Sasha and Naomi? Is WWE trying to hide something? What I've been reporting, I've tried to keep as clear as possible. I don't think what I've been reporting has been particularly confusing, but there is a lot of differing reports out there. Now, most of my reporting has been proven true. In fact, when it comes to Sasha and Naomi, all of my reporting has been proven true already, whereas other reports we're waiting to have them proven true, such as Bayley, for example. Other people have now confirmed it. When it comes to Sasha and Naomi, it can be a minefield out there because a lot of different wrestling outlets report completely different things. Moxie says, Tom, what are the chances Bayley returns today or before SummerSlam? Moderate. I can't say high necessarily, but I do think it's likely that we will see Bayley before SummerSlam. Yes, Hector, I am telling you, Katie Vick wasn't the best Triple H segment ever. That's exactly what I'm saying. And Dimitar says, also, happy birthday. Wishing you all good. Thank you very kindly, Dimitar. I appreciate that. Sean says, according to Fightful, Colt Cabana, his contract is up with AEW and there was no offer to renew. Other talents found out and went to bat for him. Colt got an offer for a role in Ring of Honor. A lot of different wrestlers had their contracts coming up in this period of time. And ultimately, a lot of the information that's being shared about it is accurate. I don't know if that's the report that was referred to as a complete fabrication by a member of FTR. I think it was Cash Wheeler. I don't know if that was that report or if that's now an updated report. You'll have to let me know that one. But there's a number of people I've reported way back at the beginning of this year that we were about to see a lot of original AEW talent quietly walk out the door. A lot of people have walked out the door without making it public knowledge. Adam Creekmore, hello, says happy late birthday. Thank you, Adam, appreciate that. Steve says, do maximum male models titillate the juices of your guilty pleasure so far on SmackDown? No, and there's a reason for that. It's not a guilty pleasure. I just like it. Thank you very much, Corey, for the 60 bits over on Twitch. I very much appreciate that. I really do. Welcome to the show, man. Hope you're having a great time. I really am. Adam says, any news about when John Cena will be returning to in-ring action? Vince McMahon, the head of WWE Creative, is trying to negotiate a deal that would see John Cena compete at SummerSlam. Basically, the intention may be, and this is speculation on my part, to be clear, it may be a good idea for John Cena to make some appearances, get some headlines, and take some attention away from some other people. Michael is very excited for Death Before Dishonor. So, I know I mostly cover WWE, but it's nice to know you're still enjoying some wrestling, I tell you that. Hypnosis Pro says, let's get to the juicy news. Do you think Mr. Vince McMahon will appear on SmackDown tonight? News on that shortly. Spider-Boss says, are the Usos still facing the Street Profits at SummerSlam? Yes, they are. That is the formal plan. Jaden said, when do you think Ronda is turning heel? More on that story later. Bailey says, other than Tom's birthday, the best moment from 7-7 was that video of a Tory MP talking about Boris Johnson while someone blasted the Benny Hill show theme across Parliament Square. I loved it. I loved it so much. I got very excited and did a little squeal of joy. Simon says, I kept saying Tom reported this news first on Twitter. People give you hate for it. with all Sasha news because all the other news people are only just catching up with you. I mean, yeah. I'm not going to say otherwise in this particular piece of news. A lot of different places are currently on catch-up, but... Wow. Okay. But, yes, there is a little bit of hate that goes out there anytime I report the news. It's a shame, I feel, because I'm just reporting the news. Connor has gifted 10 channel memberships on YouTube. So, when it comes to channel memberships on YouTube, you do have to opt in. So if you're currently on the YouTube, at the top of the chat right now, the live chat, there should be an opt-in option. There are 8 channel memberships currently sat in limbo, waiting for people to opt in and receive them. Huge thanks to you, Connor. Mate, I know these aren't cheap. I know these aren't cheap. I've set the price for them. So you are really being very generous at the moment. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. We have 10 gifted memberships from Connor, who less than a week ago gifted 10 memberships. So that... Oh, mate. You're going to make me melt a little bit. Memberships so far have gone out to Tommy B, David Leary, and the BFG podcast. Now Pro Wrestling GOAT as well, which means there are still 6 memberships waiting in limbo for you to opt in and receive them. Please do remember to do so. Hector says, Tom, did you see that Pat McAfee got a contract extension? Very well deserved. He's a fan like you and I and is living his dream. All his reactions are very genuine. They don't feel fake. I'd like to think that there are matches added to this extension as well. Here's a little bit of news for you. Here is a little bit of news. You are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. He now has something of a limited date contract, and that includes wrestling. We are going to see more Pat McAfee in the wrestling ring in our future, and I, for one, am very excited about it. Thank you, Corey, for 25 bits on the Twitch side. I very much appreciate that as well. Thank you kindly. Pro Wrestling Goats are so glad you're having a wonderful birthday, Tom. You deserve it. You deserve it. Thank you very much. Ryu has been gifted a membership, and Christoph has also been gifted a membership. That takes us up to 6. There are still 4 memberships waiting in limbo. If 4 more people don't opt in, I won't receive any benefit from it until people do opt in. They'll just sit in limbo until people do opt in on those memberships. So if you're interested in receiving a free channel membership for a month, by all means opt in. You don't have to pay a penny. It expires at the end of the month. I've learned this since. It expires at the end of the month, costs you not a penny, and you do get access to any members-only content. Admittedly, at the moment, that's just the 2 videos, but there is another video coming this weekend, and then more as it develops. Edward Brooks just received a membership as well, leaving just the free to collect. Simon says, everybody's already hating on Liv, from Bully Ray, Jimmy Corderas, Disco Inferno to fans. She's only just become champion. They should at least give her a chance. You are absolutely correct. I completely agree with you. They should at least give her a chance. Spider-Boss says, Triple H in his promo, me and my friend Mark was so good and funny. I enjoyed that until it very much came true. Sean says, apparently Ronda's music can't be used in 2K22 for a creator wrestler and from the jukebox. Do you think this is due to copyright? Does WWE not own her theme? The WWE do not own her theme. They are licensing that theme and have to pay royalties when it is used. It is not going to be on 2K22 because an agreement is not in place for those royalties. Simon says, I actually wouldn't mind Tyson Fury as a Mike Tyson special guest enforcer referee. WrestleMania 15, Austin versus HBK. That was 14, just to be clear. So Fury can keep out the bloodline interference. I love the idea. I think that would be absolutely great. That would just be absolutely great. And above all else, it was how long ago when I put on YouTube that Tyson Fury was coming back? Let's find out, shall we? Let's have a look. Because I've recently reshared this video because someone else mentioned that Tyson Fury has been negotiating with the WWE. It's one of those where I'm like, a bit late to the party, mate. Where you guys know I'm not allowed to say that. I'm not allowed to say that, so I'll just stum. I'll just keep myself quiet. Edward Brooks says, did WWE blow off Asuka versus Becky last week on Raw prior to SummerSlam in order to make room for a new certain role model? I feel Bayley versus Becky in my bones. I've got to say, I'd be very, very happy if they had done that. It was 2 months ago. Tyson Fury returning to the WWE. Admittedly, at the time it was to face Drew McIntyre. That is still coming, I promise you that. Well, 2 months ago I reported that one, so well done that guy who reported it since. Robs and Dimitar have both received 2 more of the memberships from Connor, leaving just the one waiting in limbo to be received. Also, if you're just joining the chat and haven't done it yet, please do hit that thumbs up. It makes a big difference to the growth of the channel, and I really do appreciate it. As regards Bailey, she's coming. She's definitely coming. Jaden says, when is the draft? It is planned to be in September, October time. Likely it will be after they come back from the UK and before they go to Saudi Arabia. Sam is really enjoying Christian's heel work. JJ says, even though Ronda lost the belt, do you see them still doing Ronda versus Shayna? I do, but it's also very possible that we get a tag team. Spider-Boss says, Sasha still appearing in the WWE commercial for Latin America. She is, and in fact she still appears in a lot of the UK stuff as well. There is plenty of Sasha content that has not exactly gone away. It's not exactly gone away. And Corey has popped over to YouTube and collected that final gift membership. One more time, thank you, Connor, for that gift. As I say, I know these memberships aren't cheap, so it's I'm really grateful for it. Also, fun fact, memberships on YouTube are the same cost as memberships on Twitch, but I get a higher percentage. On Twitch it's 50-50, on YouTube I get 70, they get 30. Simon says, the Sasha match is still on the WWE Network? Yes, they are. Why giving Sasha the name redacted CM Punk treatment? They're not giving her the name redacted treatment, but they are giving her the CM Punk treatment at this point in time. But the word came out to Peacock to essentially stop advertising her, not necessarily to delete her. Delete. BFG says, the world can rejoice, Boris Johnson is gone. Also time for Tony to ask his assistant Aubrey Edwards to get his handbag and checkbook out. Now Sasha is reportedly gone from WWE. Waiting on more confirmation for that, but Tony Khan would be silly not to try. Austin says, I hope they use Shayna. Don't want her to get lost in the shuffle. I stand corrected. Corey did not receive the last of the 10 memberships from Connor. Kei Okara has received that membership. Corey actually signed up on his own. Thank you, Corey. I appreciate that. Did not opt in, but chose to become a member anyway. I appreciate it. Thank you kindly. Spider-Boss says, if Ronda turns heel on Liv, who makes a save to help Liv? Maybe no one. Maybe no one. Moxie says, Tom, maybe Shayna dethrones Liv. I would like that. I would love that concept. Corey says, happy belated birthday, Tom. Can't believe it's almost been 2 years since we met. It has been. You were there in some of my earliest shows. I very much, as always, appreciate that support. And yeah, you've been here from day one. Thank you, as always. Jaden says, do you think WWE has removed Sasha from the internal list and have been quiet about it if she's released just to get the attention away from Vince? I don't necessarily think they're removing her just to get the attention away from Vince. That was, after all, supposed to be a backstage report that people weren't aware of, but WWE have been known to leak information before. Spider-Boss says, I would love to see Bailey returning to interrupt Becky on Raw, you and me both, and get the tables. Hey, mate. Says, happy belated birthday, sir. Hope you had a great week. I've had a great week. Thank you very much for that, and thank you very much everyone who's been wishing me happy birthday. Get the tables. Unfortunately, I've not been able to dip into your shows as often as I used to be because of the time difference, but I do dip in when I can, and I still really enjoy the content that you put out there. I do also like that even though now and then we're kind of competition, I do like that we share some viewers, we share some people, and we still dip in and support each other, and that's absolutely wonderful. Thank you as always for jumping in. Johnny says, hi Tom, just joined the stream. Hope you're good. I saw Meltzer report WWE invited some indie wrestlers to tryouts. Is this a sign WWE wants to potentially sign more indie wrestlers, or at least a few? It is not. What they are doing at this point is essentially they are doing exactly what they did last year. Last year they had not open tryouts at SummerSlam. They had closed tryouts, meaning that they specifically invited people to come to the tryouts. This is how they first got in contact with, for example, Roxanne. There are a number of people who have already been contacted and a number of people who are going to be heavily involved. We'll wait and see for more, but this is a business model going forwards. Once a year at SummerSlam, they do a big tryout featuring indie wrestlers and indie talent that they can bring in. it also, in many ways, prevents those indie wrestlers from competing in competition with SummerSlam. So it frees up the field a little bit. It's quite clever. Simon says, do you think FTR's really close friendship with Sasha, her mentor being Regal, close friendship with Tony, Athena, Ruby, Punk being a fan, could sway Tony to sign her when she's a free agent? I don't believe for a second that Tony Khan would not immediately offer her as much money as she wanted if she did become a free agent. I think anybody would be dumb not to do so. Sid says they should play the Benny Hill theme whenever the 24/7 title is being defended. I mean, it kind of fits. It kind of fits what they'd be going for there. Sean says we've had 3 new champions in the women's division crowned within a week. Liv at Money in the Bank and Cora and Roxanne on NXT. There certainly have been rumours that Cora's turning heel. If she was going to turn heel, it was always going to be on Roxanne to build Roxanne up to be the next NXT Women's Champion. That day's coming. Jared says, hey Tom, just joined, sorry. Happy birthday. Been following both your wrestling and gaming content for like half a year now. Easily one of the few that I have fun watching. Happy birthday. Thank you, Jared. I really do appreciate that. That's lovely to say. And I know that at the minute we're still working on the gaming stuff. It's very fresh. It's very new. I'm really enjoying it even when nobody's there. But it's lovely when people are popping in and checking it out as well. So thank you kindly. Get the Table says, do you think it's possible WWE does the old switcheroo and have Theory lose the Money in the Bank case to Cena? That way Cena can get his record-breaking title win. Would for sure get the notice off Vince for a bit. That's true. I don't necessarily think that Theory is cashing in on Roman. I just don't personally see it. That said, I also don't think Cena is cashing in on Roman. It's been a few years now. I think it's been about 3 years since I first reported it. But John Cena doesn't really want to break Ric Flair's championship record. He'd have to be convinced. And certainly at this point in time, his last win, his last championship reign, was only 2 weeks. It was only for 2 weeks, transitioning from AJ Styles to Bray Wyatt. So I think he is very much done at this point, but we'll see how it plays out. Certainly if Vince wants to get the attention away, that's something you could offer him. Razar said at this point, I can't see Rock versus Roman is going to happen. This whole Vince situation put the nail in that coffin. Rock doesn't need to tarnish his image for money at this point. He doesn't need to, however, The Rock is still loyal to Vince McMahon, so we'll see how that plays out. Connor says, got to show my love for my main man, Tom. Thank you, Connor. Really do appreciate it. Corey throwing more bits in. Thank you kindly, Corey. Simon says, Austin Theory versus Bobby Lashley for the US Championship rematch is already being made official for SummerSlam on Raw last Monday. Thank you for reminding me, Simon. I did say on Spoiler Warning on Monday that the US Championship and the Intercontinental Championship, there are plans in place to get them on the card. They need to get them on the card. Very much clear that they're at least trying to do so. Simon says, I really appreciate Liv Morgan's passion for the industry. My favourite Money in the Bank cash-in since Punk's 2, RVD's one way back in the day. Certainly made a lot of people pop in a very good way. Connor saying, to all the new members, everyone enjoy the great members videos and the great emotes in the stream. Same emotes that are on Twitch. I do need to make some new ones eventually, but I'm not a pro at this. And I don't know what emotes to make, to be completely honest. I should probably make like an SW logo. It occurs to me that I have someone who does that. We'll work it out. Adam Creedmoor says, I'm hearing, and I imagine this comes from Fightful, that Vince is meeting John Cena in Vancouver. That may be where Vince is tonight. It may be where Vince is tonight. Sean says, Alexa hinted at facing Bianca for the title on Raw. Do you see it happening? Yes, though not next. I think it'll be a little further down the road. And Adam says, who is Tyson Fury wrestling? He very much wants Drew McIntyre. I can't promise that that's what's going to happen, but he very much wants Drew McIntyre. Spider-Boss says Bayley versus Becky would be very good to see. Absolutely agree. So the one horsewoman match we've never seen. Speaking of, did we ever hear anything more about the idea that the 4 horsewomen were going to be in main eventing night 1 of WrestleMania? That it would be the 4 horsewomen fatal 4-way? I gotta say, if that was actually the plan, I don't think Sasha Banks would have wanted to leave the way she did. But that's just me. Johnny says, is there any update on if the belts are splitting? Not hating Roman, just want to see at least one of them on TV. Yes, the WWE have planned for a while now to separate the championships. I've been mentioning that one essentially since the championships were combined. They just haven't had... They don't have anyone that they have decided is the one. I think Seth's going to be the one, but they're trying to work out how to get it off Roman. So maybe, Theory ends up losing that briefcase to a newly faced Seth. But then Seth would have to turn heel again so he could lose it to Cody. There's a lot going on at the moment. There's a lot going on. Hector says, Tom, how would you book Theory's Money in the Bank run? Imagine him holding it for 364 days and failing to cash in. I think him losing in particular is going to go a long way to expand his character as well. You don't learn a lot from a wrestler who is having win, just keeps winning. You don't learn a lot about them as individuals. When they lose and you learn how they handle a loss and how they recover from that, that's when you learn about the wrestler. Simon says, is Cowboy Brock appearing on SmackDown tonight? I haven't had notification that he's in town, but they do have to start building towards SummerSlam now, so I do expect we're going to see Roman and or Brock tonight. Spider-Boss wants Pat McAfee versus Corey Graves. We keep hearing that Corey Graves is cleared. I haven't seen him looking towards the table at any point. Sorry, looking towards the ring at any point. Cheers, Tony. Appreciate that, man. Simon says, the only time my dad hears about pro wrestling is when these very unfortunate Vince allegations are in the news. Yeah, because, as I said at the beginning, it's always interesting how you've got all these wrestling journalists and then someone like the Wall Street Journal come in and basically just show us all how it's done. I don't have all of the contacts that the big names do. I don't. I get the information I get. I share the information I can. A lot of what I get I don't share because I can't get enough confirmation or I can't vet it. There's just a lot going on. And then you get wrestling journalists who claim to be the creme de la creme, the top rung of the ladder. And then the Wall Street Journal comes in and says, nah. KJ says, Theory gets a lot of hate at the minute, but I bet anything that once he turns face, he'll be over massively. Very, very true. I do think he's one of those where people love to hate him and will get behind him when the WWE says we're pulling the trigger. I think the same can be said of Baron Corbin, to be honest. Dimitar says, want to laugh? Billy Batty reported that Shayna was going to be the SummerSlam match, but she hasn't re-signed a contract. I hope we're taking note and remembering some of these reports because we bring in a lot of news from here and we laugh at it. But it's also worth remembering it for when it's proven false. I like to think we have the most well-informed chat in wrestling. We source all the information we bring in, and I fact-check everything I report here. And of course, my information is fact-checked by regular people here. You remember what I report. You remember if I get things wrong. You would remember that. So that's a huge part of it. You guys are the ones that hold me accountable if my information is incorrect. So it's as much drama as it caused. I really do appreciate the amount of people who went out on a limb yesterday and today and pointed out that I've been accurately reporting news that's only just coming to light from other people for months. I really do appreciate it. Kuro says, WrestleZone quickly reported and took back without stating why they took back the story that Randy Orton is expected back soon. See, I've heard about them doing that before. Just deleting a report. If you've reported something, why would you then delete it? I've never deleted anything that I've reported. If I get something wrong, you should know about it. You should. It's part of... We have a mandate to inform. That's why we're here. That's the wrestling journalist's job. We inform. So sharing news and then saying, but shh. That's not informing. KJ says, what big name is even on the indies or no name? There are a few people who were recently in AEW, I'll say that, but it's more women than men, I'll say that as well. Spider-Boss says, young talent getting the spotlight in WWE, Liv and Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez are champions now, plus Theory is Mr. Money in the Bank. A lot of fresh talent is getting a lot of attention. Butch is on TV every week. You look at Madcap, you look at obviously Austin Theory, Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley. There's a lot of very good things happening right now. Sean says, anything on EO lately? Nope, no update on that one that I've been able to get. I have nothing, unfortunately, as regards it. Michael says, anything on Dakota Kai lately? Lots of interest. I've said before, and this isn't Dakota Kai relative in a vacuum, I've said before, a number of wrestlers having been fired by the WWE weren't really interested in wrestling anymore, I'll say that. And Simon says, thank you to Liv Morgan, she single-handedly kept me a WWE fan. Austin says, I'll be so happy when all this Sasha Banks talk is done. Same. Steve says, any updates on what the numbers mean on the NXT barcode this past Tuesday? I don't watch enough NXT, so I'm not entirely sure what the numbers would be referring to. The fact that it ended in 11 suggests it's not a debut. Jared says Brock's status for tonight. I believe I've answered that, but I find it likely he will be there. I've not heard anything about him actually being there, though. Simon says, I'm seeing Roxanne beating Mandy on Tuesday on NXT, then Cora turning heel on Roxanne down the line due to Cora's jealousy of Roxanne 2 belts. Michael says, I really don't get why one single woman would want to work for Vince in any capacity. Certainly interest is lowering. Hector says, just got an email from WWE that Roman will be live on SmackDown tonight. Hope he cuts a promo where he brings up Theory winning Money in the Bank. That could be a good time. I would expect to see him tonight. I really would. KJ says, Liv winning the title was the happiest I've been since watching Kofi's WWE title win. Oh, cool. That was a really feel-good time. I miss it. Hypnosis Bro says, I need a triple threat between Logan Paul, Pat McAfee and Bad Bunny at WrestleMania. That would genuinely be a really good match. Don't give me Gunter versus Logan so I can see Gunter chopping him to oblivion. Adam says, AWT Sasha Banks signing a couple of weeks ago. And they couldn't overtly do so. Vince would sue. Simon's going back and watching old Sasha matches. Thomas Phipps says, hope you had a good birthday. I did, thank you very much. Welcome to the show. Spider Boss says, I still wonder why the 4 horsewomen aren't so close as they were years ago. Sometimes that happens in life. Sometimes you grow apart. In NXT, you've got to remember, they basically live together. That's not the case anymore. Sean says, did you see Alexa's interview on Out of Character of Ryan Satin? Not yet, but I've seen clips and I enjoyed it. I'm interested in her as a person. So it's one of those. Out of Character is great for people you genuinely care about. But you'll never see Sasha Banks on there, I tell you that. Simon says, very interesting that you said the WWE removed Roman stuff during his break during COVID in the PC era Thunderdome to not give him attention. Now they're doing the same with Sasha as reported by you. Yep. There was rumours at the time as regards Roman that he had massive heat backstage. Roman was massively disliked backstage. He'd let everyone down and there were massive problems. Then he came back and he won the championship and he's had it ever since. Clearly not the case. Clearly the case was exactly as I said at the time. Goat says, that's why you're a goat, Tom. Thanks you for being a true journalist. Thank you. I appreciate that. Austin says, that's not true about Shayna, is it, about her not re-signing? Not sure, because I don't know, so I can't say definitively one way or the other, but I don't trust the source, I'll say that. Kura says, on the Randy Orton thing, almost every other news outlet contradicts that report, saying Orton is potentially out the rest of 2022. Then they shouldn't be reporting that, and when they do, they shouldn't get away with deleting it. Simon says, easy if she comes back like Roman did. Just put the advertisement Avatar Peacock Evil episode back up, put her back on the internal roster. Yep, spot on. Easy. Wiggly says, hey, yo, it's your birthday. Happy birthday, Tom. Thanks for all that you do. Thank you, Wiggly. I do appreciate that. I try my best to keep people entertained. And welcome to the show. Sean says, I hope Roxanne wins the NXT women's title, but it would overexpose her and fans could turn on her. So I say Mandy retains. I do think it'll be a little while yet before Mandy loses, but now would be a good time, just before SummerSlam, to get her up onto the main roster. I would love to see Toxic Attraction up on SmackDown. I also think Mandy Rose versus Liv Morgan, with the two characters that they have right now, is basically printing money. Simon says, has DX got full control of NXT now again? Pretty much, yeah. And Spider-Boss hopes that Roxanne Perez beats Mandy next week. Right, we don't have long, so let me just recap share the news. As regards the heel turn that I've been teasing, there are definitely rumours of a couple, and I want to say both. There has been talk about turning Angelo Dawkins heel in order to break up he and Montez Ford. The idea was that he would be the one turning heel because Montez Ford is considered the star. However, Montez Ford has also been considered for a heel turn. Because Angelo Dawkins has impressed the WWE a lot recently. The idea was that Montez Ford was a star, Angelo Dawkins was the Marty Jannetty. But since being made aware of this, Angelo Dawkins has seriously upped his game, and people in WWE are very, very impressed, to the point where they are considering going in the other direction, having Montez Ford turn heel, and then that opens up the option, for example, of Montez Ford versus Ricochet, lower down, Montez Ford versus Shinsuke Nakamura, And of course, as you get higher, Montez Ford versus Gunter before eventually he gets further up the card. There is, of course, a second one, and it's the one everyone was expecting when I put the teaser in that tweet. There is talk of turning Ronda Rousey for a long-term feud with Liv Morgan. It may not be relatively soon, that one. That one may take a little while longer. But I do feel the Ronda Rousey heel turn will make people a lot happier than Ronda Rousey as she is right now. As regards Vince McMahon, the Wall Street Journal has come out with a report that any wrestling journalist would probably be very, very jealous of reporting. It's not really something I have an issue with here because I just report what I report. But I guarantee you there are wrestling journalists right now wishing and praying that more news comes, but this time to them when it comes to that. The report was about greater hush money being paid to a number of different women by Vince McMahon. The board is actively investigating this, and at the moment the WWE will not comment. However, Vince McMahon has no interest in going quietly. If he has to go, he will raise hell beforehand, and he is still the head of creative. He has already made changes to the SmackDown card tonight, and he has been at the gorilla position every show since the initial report came out. Vince McMahon is not planning to go anywhere. There are still at this time plans in place for a smooth transition back to his CEO role should he be acquitted, and after all, this is an internal investigation at this point. However, if someone did report this to the police and it became a criminal matter, there may or may not be enough evidence for a serious criminal conviction. I think that's as far as I can go at this point. Without potentially putting myself into legal hot water. So that is all I'm going to say. Spider-Boss says Sasha's fans took very seriously any report that has Sasha's name on it. Yeah, and there were a lot of absolute bullshit reports out there. A lot of absolute bullshit reports. Hypnosis Pro says, will this be a longer stream than normal? Because we still haven't got to the news. I did manage to get to the news there, but you're absolutely right. Probably not. We will probably be wrapping it up soon. I do have SmackDown and a watch party later on tonight, and I do need to essentially nap in between. That's why we have the hour-long limit, so that I can get myself some sleep. It does finish at 11 p.m. here in the UK. Dan, welcome, says, I'm late to the party, but happy birthday, Tom. Thank you very much, Dan. I very much appreciate you dropping in and saying so. Connor says, Tom, SummerSlam 2019, Edge returned by spearing Elias. SummerSlam 2020, Roman Reigns returned by spearing Braun Strowman. SummerSlam 2021, Brock returned but didn't spear anyone. Who do you think is returning this year? I do think it is the perfect time for Bayley to return. I think it would be great to see either Liv Morgan getting a win by roll-up or something like that on Ronda Rousey. Then Ronda Rousey turns heel with a proper beatdown. Bayley comes down to rescue her, thus turning face. Or Charlotte Flair is the heel in that element, comes down, beats both Ronda Rousey and Liv Morgan up. Then Bayley comes down, beats up Charlotte Flair a bit. Charlotte Flair runs off. And then we get a Charlotte Flair-Bayley feud. Meanwhile, of course, we still have Charlotte Flair versus Ronda to come. Simon says, very hopefully a match world title feud of Liv could very hopefully entice Sasha. I find it unlikely. From what I can tell, she's just not very interested. Spider-Boss says, Toxic Attraction is ready for main roster. Their time at NXT is over. I wholeheartedly agree. Sean says, Toxic does come up. Could the women's tag titles come back? Yes, they could. They are, after all, looking for tag teams, and I think they'd be very good champions. Megan says, for a SummerSlam return, I'd go Bayley. Same, very much the same, though I do think Charlotte will be returning. Of course, we will be hosting a SummerSlam watch party. Please be aware of that. And yeah, I'll actually put that up soon. I can put that up relatively shortly because ultimately there's nothing special about the title. Steve says, as a birthday wish, one thing you would love to see on SmackDown this evening. I would love to see Bayley's return. I think that is the best of all possible worlds. I would love to see Bailey return. I just think that would be great fun. David Leary says, an update on Fox and NBC Universal's thoughts on the new allegations. At this point in time, Fox and NBC Universal have decided to take no action whatsoever. The WWE have placated them with this internal investigation and with Vince McMahon stepping down, as it were. This was, in many ways, a way to keep the networks on side. What will happen, and may happen very quickly, is if sponsors start dropping out, then the networks will act. It won't be until the sponsors drop out that the network acts. Hector says, just remember, Tom, Vince screwed Vince. Never forget. Never forget. This has been a birthday edition of Spoiler Warning. I know we didn't get to cover all that much news, but this was a birthday party. We will be having a watch party for SmackDown later on today, so please be sure to tune into that. In the meantime, I'm going to wrap up. Say thank you to all 30 people who hit like, to all 171 people who tuned in during this live show, to all the people who watched on Twitch as well. We did peak at about 62 viewers, so I'm very grateful to that. Huge thanks to Sai, to Corey, and to Connor for their generous donations over the course of the show as well. Thank you for the birthday wishes, everyone. I've been Tom Colohue. You've been fantastic. And I'll see you all very soon.